What's up everyone? It's Mr. Hunia here for day 7 of our distance learning for human development. Today is Trojan Day, so please submit your pictures and videos of you rocking Trojan gear. And today, I'll be honest with y'all, I'm really missing C102, so let's have class in C102 today. Awesome. So for today, you guys are going to have a set of notes as well as an assignment today. And we're still focusing along the lines of moral development based off the theory of Lawrence Kohlberg. So if you go ahead and get your notes out, we'll go ahead and get started. So we talked about moral development based off psychoanalytical and, the id, the ego, and the superego. But then there's also another way we think about how people develop morality or what they feel is right and wrong. And this guy named Lawrence Kohlberg ended up breaking down 6 stages that people tend to go through. And oftentimes you see it done as in little children, and then as they get older they tend to progress through the stages. But it's not always the case. You can have older people who are stuck in earlier stages and things of that nature. So the whole process or the whole reasoning behind looking at this is kind of thinking, as you develop along. So as you become a little kid, as you become a teenager, as you go into adulthood, most of the time you will see more people developing their moral compass or what they feel is right or wrong and how they make decisions based on each of these stages. So we're going to go through, talk about 6 of these stages, and you have that little note chart sheet that you're going to fill out along the way. So as I go through and teach this, you guys are going to be writing down the name of the stage in the chart as well as how decisions are made, and also you'll be given like an example, and I'll try to give you guys as many examples as I can to kind of help this kind of sink in a little bit. But nevertheless, let's get started. Stage 1. So the first stage is the pre-conventional stage 1, which is the obedience and punishment stage. And this is where children, mostly children, make decisions based off whether or not they will be punished, and they see punishment as a result of bad behavior. So punishment equals bad behavior. So a child may refrain from doing something because they know they will be punished. For example, a little child may choose not to act up in class because he knows that if he acts up, he will be put in time out. So therefore he sees as acting up equals time out. I'm not going to do this because I'm going to get punished. Another way I've been told to think about all these different stages is how someone reacts when they pull up to a stoplight and there's nobody around. So in stage 1, a person may pull up to a stoplight and they may choose, even though there's nobody around, they may choose not to run that red light because they may fear that they may get punished. So you may run a red light, you may get a ticket, so therefore you're not going to run that red light because you'll get punished.
Hey, what's up y'all? This is Mr. Hunia. Another caveat to this is also that, for example, you may see that there's nobody around at the red light, so you may run the red light because you don't fear that you will get punished.
So the next stage we're moving into is pre-conventional stage 2, which is known as self-interest. And this is where you make decisions based off what is in it for you. Or the person makes decisions based off what is in it for them. So let's say, for instance, we have little Johnny and little Susie. Little Susie hears little Johnny say some mean, bad things. Things that are against the preschool rules. Alright, so then little Susie threatens little Johnny, I'm going to tell the teacher on you. Little Johnny knows he did something bad. So what does he do? He then turns around and tells little Susie, if you don't tell the teacher, I will give you my candy bar. So little Susie can ultimately make a decision right here. She can make that decision of, okay, I get a candy bar for letting little Johnny break the rules. Or for example, in little Johnny's case, he can say, I make the decision to give up my candy bar and I don't get in trouble for breaking the rules. So in other words, it's more of a self-interest and a trade-off, making that decision based off what is best for them. So if you think about it again, the stoplight instance. So if you think about our stoplight example, if you pull up to a stoplight and there is nobody around and there's not a cop in sight, do you run that stoplight? What you may do is you may say, okay, I might break these rules, but what's in it for me? I can get to my destination faster. It is obviously against the law to run a red light, even if there's nobody around, but the decision is being made based off the best interest of you, which is getting to your destination quicker. So in the case of conventional stage 3, we have good boy and good girl, where decisions are made based off of the opinions of others. So now we're seeing the idea of where parent and peer influence comes into play. So for example, if your peers ask you to cut class, you may choose to cut class because you want your peers to think you're cool and you're go with the flow and you're awesome and you want to go with whatever they're doing. But on the flip side, you may also choose not to cut class because you want your family or your teachers to think that you are a good student and that you're being responsible. So especially in the good boy, good girl stage, in this stage 3, a lot of the decisions are very influenced by what group that person feels they want to be viewed as a good boy or good girl by. So let's say you pull up to the stoplight, there's nobody around. You may choose to not run that red light because you want people around you, even though they're not there, to think of you as a good citizen. On the flip side, you may also choose to run that red light because there may be outlying factors. You may have friends in the car, they are sitting there egging you on, run the light, there's nobody around. So a lot of times, a lot of outside influence based off, your peer group, your family group, your social group, it all has a major influence in this segment. And this is really applicable to teenagers. Now, the next phase we're going to is the conventional phase, which is stage 4, law and order. And this is where a lot of the decisions are made simply on laws or a system of rules. So this is where you just kind of see the rules as what they are, and you follow them because that's what the law says. So this is where you may not wear your hat on in the building because that's what the school rules say. You may wear your ID because that's what the school rules say. So you're obeying these rules based off what the rules are stating. On a side note, like in Nazi Germany, when, everything ended in the World War and a lot of these Nazis were put on trial, a lot of them used the reasoning behind why they killed some of the Jews was actually because they said, I was just following orders, meaning that this was the law of the land, this is what Hitler had in place. I was under his rule and his army, and when he told me to do stuff, I just followed orders. So a lot of the Nazis in the standpoint that were under Hitler were literally following into stage 4. And going back once again to our stoplight example, you pull up to a stoplight, nobody's around, do you run the red light? A person in stage 4 may say, the rules are, we don't run red lights, that's the rules of the road, we're gonna wait till it changes. Alright, so now we're moving into post-conventional stage 5, which is known as the social contract. Now, according to what I've written down here, laws are social contracts that must be changed to benefit the general welfare of people. Now, what does that mean? Because that's kind of a lot to handle right there. What it's saying is at this point, people are becoming more and more reflective about the laws that are in place and thinking that many of the laws in place should be changed to benefit the welfare of other people. So what we're doing is considering the basic rights that everyone has, and then we're looking to change laws in order to benefit everyone the best we can. This is a little bit harder to explain, but I guess the best way I can kind of see this is, for example, we all have the right to come to school, we all have the right to utilize a laptop, we all have the right to learn and feel safe while at school. But while we're there, what kind of things can we change to make things better? And not just that, make things better for everyone as a whole. So, for example, we may say that, the rule about wearing hats in class, we're just going to go ahead and, make that a non-rule now. Because it'll benefit more people because less people will get in trouble and nobody's really getting distracted by hats. So in looking at our example with the red light, we're seeing it as, okay, the law states that we are to stop and hold while the light is red, and I should not be running that because that is what the law says. But is this a just law? Can I change this? If there's nobody around, should I be able to run this red light and not get in trouble? Would being able to run a red light and not get in trouble be a bigger benefit for society? Some people may say yes, because if there's nobody around, who's going to get hurt? Some people may say no, because you should still follow those rules, because if someone comes flying out of nowhere and you get hit, someone could get hurt. So it's that idea that we all have basic laws and principles that we should live by, And then there are certain laws that, we can be able to continue along in. So now we move into stage 6, where decisions are based on the moral compass of what is right and what are universally accepted ethics. A person in stage 6 has developed a strong moral compass of what they feel is right and what they feel is just, and is based morally on the inside and based off, is this going to hurt people? So for example, a person may choose to do something because they feel it is the right thing to do. They've cultivated their moral compass. They feel like universally it is the correct thing to do. So let's say, for instance, you hear about a student possibly having a gun in their backpack. So the big question is, do you tell administration? You can go through all the levels here. You may say that, you don't want to tell them because, you're afraid that, the student may come after you. Or you may choose not to tell them because you want that student and their friend group to think that you're cool. Or you may choose to tell them because you know that the rules state that they're not supposed to have firearms on a campus. Where it comes into stage 6 is where you feel morally about it. So in other words, you're considering the idea of people's lives possibly being in danger. You're considering the school rules. You're considering everything that happens and surrounds the decision that you make. And then you may choose to tell because you know that it is the right thing to do, because in the end you may end up saving plenty of lives should this gun be brought out and used for a weapon. You're not even considering the rule that there should be no firearms on campus. You are just concerned because morally you feel it is the right thing to protect other people by telling your administrator about the gun. So let's take, for example, running the red light. If you pull up to a red light and there's nobody else around, do you run that red light? Well, in stage 6, let's say, for instance, that you've got someone in the back seat of your car and they need medical attention, like it is a life or death situation. You may, on the inside, feel that you have a moral ability to help this person, protect this person, and make sure they get to medical attention. So you may run that red light because at this point, none of the rules matter. What matters is protecting the life of another human being and trying to save them. And that is what you morally may think inside. Universally accepted principles and ethics means that, there are universally accepted ideals that we all deserve life, we all deserve liberty, pursuit of happiness. And in that, you may make a lot of decisions on helping people and protecting their life, especially within stage 6. So send me back that note chart all filled in and you guys will get your credit for it. And then if you go in and you open up the Kohlberg stage sheet, what you will find are various scenarios, and all you're going to do is just write down which Kohlberg stage that you think the person making the decision in these scenarios is in. Are they in stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Are they in the good boy, good girl stage? Are they in the law and order stage? Are they in the punishment and obedience stage? So you're just listing out which stage that you think the person is in that coincides with the example. But that is all I have for today. So make sure to submit your Trojan pictures for our Spirit Week. And you guys have a great weekend. Take care and be safe. Bye.